10. Xanadu 2.0. Value $154 million. The first house that we have today on our list is the personal residence of Bill Gates, Xanadu 2.0. It is named Xanadu in honour of the fictional mansion of the protagonist in Citizen Kane, a film that is entirely about how money and possessions were unable to make a tycoon happy. Xanadu is situated on an area of 66,000 square feet, built in the heart of Seattle. Its net worth is $154.48 million. The house is known for its awesome interior design and technology. Well, it's Bill Gates' house, what else would you expect? Gates purchased the property back in 1988 for $2 million. It has 7 bedrooms and 24 bathrooms. The house is built with 500-year-old Douglas fir trees. Now let's see how a genius would customise his home. When guests arrive, they are given a pin that interacts with sensors located all over the house. Guests enter their temperature and lighting preferences so that the settings change as they move throughout the home. Speakers hidden behind wallpaper allow music to follow you from room to room. They can even change the wallpaper on the wall according to their desire. Well, that's not it. Xanadu also has a 60-foot pool with underwater sound system. The house has a trampoline, an enormous reception hall that can accommodate more than 200 guests, and a gym. It has 6 separate kitchens, a huge library whose manuscript is worth $30 million, a home theatre for 50 people, a guest house and several garages. Gates even has a favourite tree which is electronically monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Awesome, right? 9. 18 to 19 Kensington Gardens. Value $128 million. Well, the 9th place on our list is 18 to 19 Kensington Gardens. This beautiful house is located on Billionaires Row, which is one of London's most prestigious areas, Kensington Gardens. The property is now owned by Indian business tycoon and billionaire Lakshmi Mittal. He is the chairman and CEO of the world's largest steel-making company, Ellison Estate. The house is situated on the area of 55,000 square foot and was actually built in the 19th century. Basically, it was 2 semi-detached houses that were later being converted into a single house by David Kahili. It has 12 bedrooms, an indoor pool, luxurious Turkish baths, and enough parking space for 20 cars. The place has had the fortune of being owned by some pretty famous and wealthy families. For example, the Rothschilds, the Freepolds, David Kahili himself, and Bernie Ecclestone owned this place for quite a long time. Mr. Mittal is also fortunate as he has the pleasure of living with Prince William and Kate Middleton as his neighbours. 8. Ellison Estate. $200 million. Owned by Larry Ellison, the co-founder of Oracle and one of the world's richest men, this $200 million estate is the 8th most expensive house in the world. Due to the sheer size of the estate, 23 acres to be exact, the property holds more than one dwelling. These 23 acres consist of a whole little world in itself. It has 10 different properties, a tea house and a bathhouse, a man-made lake and a koi pond. The design of Ellison Estate was highly inspired by the Japanese architecture and was modelled after a Japanese emperor's palace. It was designed by Paul Driscoll, who was an architect and Zen Buddhist teacher. Throughout the estate grounds, you will find some very expensive trees, like cherry blossoms, maples, oaks, and redwoods. 7. 1 Hyde Park Penthouse, UK. Value $220 million. The penthouse is usually the most exclusive and impressive apartment in any residential building. They are spacious, well appointed, and offer great views, so it's not surprising that these apartments often come with a hefty price tag. Well, therefore there is also the penthouse in my list. Yeah, everyone's favourite Hyde Park penthouse. Recently completed in the affluent Knightsbridge area in the heart of London, Hyde Park is one of the world's most expensive apartment complexes. The project reportedly cost around $220 million, so it's no surprise that it is home to some of the priciest residences in all of London. This spring, one of the 4 penthouses, Penthouse D, at 1 Hyde Park became the most expensive flat ever sold in Britain when it was purchased by an unknown Eastern European billionaire for a staggering $237 million. And while the building does have some pretty impressive perks that are 24-hour residential custodian, bulletproof windows, a 21-metre stainless steel ozone swimming pool, and very high levels of security, the penthouse didn't come with any furnishings, flooring, or even internal walls, the cost of which, if added, could be in the tens of millions. 6. 4 Fairfield Pond. Value $248 million. Well, as we all know, luxury and New York go hand in hand together. Therefore, you can't have a list of the most expensive houses in the world and not have one located in New York City. 4 Fairfield Pond is one of the most extravagant homes of Ira Renner, owner of the Reno Group, a holding investment company in smelting and manufacturing. The 63-acre home comes equipped with 29 bedrooms, 39 bathrooms and a 91-foot dining room, basketball court, bowling alley, squash courts, tennis courts and 3 swimming pools. To power the mansion, it requires a gigantic amount of electricity. But who needs to worry about that when the house comes with its very own power plant located on site? And for those of you who... 5. The Odeon Tower Penthouse. Value $330 million. Another great penthouse that falls in this list of expensive houses is the Odeon Tower Penthouse. With an estimated value of $330 million, the Odeon Tower Penthouse is right up there with the most expensive houses in the world. For that kind of money, you could get 35,000 square foot apartment at the very top of one of the most expensive buildings in Monaco. The Tour Odeon was designed by architect Alexander Girardi and developed by Groupe Mazzocco. The penthouse is spread out over several floors and includes its own private elevator. If that's not enough to woo you, then how about a private water slide into a 360-degree view infinity pool? The property definitely has an impressive value for money, so if you're looking for a penthouse, keep an eye on this one, as it's one of the most impressive houses we've ever seen. 4. Le Palais Bulles. Value $390 million. Coming in at number 4 is Le Palais Bulles, for a cool $390 million. Known as the Bubble Palace, Le Palais Bulles was designed by Hungarian architect Antti Lovage and was built somewhere in the region of 1975 to 1989. Its nickname comes from a series of round rooms that look over the Mediterranean Sea. Lovage's inspiration for the design of the property came from man's earliest dwellings. However, this dwelling has been seriously upgraded with some really nice creature comforts. For example, the property has 3 swimming pools, numerous gardens and a 500-seat amphitheatre built into the hillside grounds. Bubble Palace is currently owned by Pierre Cardin, an Italian-born French fashion designer. The property is mainly used as a holiday home for Pierre, alongside being a spectacular venue for parties and events, such as when Dior showed its cruise collection there at an indoor-outdoor fashion show. 3. Villa Leopolda. Value $750 million. Villa Leopolda is the third most expensive house in the world. Built by King Leopold II of Belgium in 1902 and located on the French Riviera. This home was purchased by Russian billionaire Prokhorov, who is so rich he lost billions to the latest economic collapse and still has enough money to buy himself a $750 million summer home. The villa is currently owned by the widow Lily Safra of Lebanese-Brazilian banker Edmond Safra. It's located in the France's Alps maritime department of its Côte d'Azur region and occupies approximately 50 acres. It has 19 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms, a commercial greenhouse, helipad, outdoor kitchen and one of the nicest swimming pools you will ever see. It also has a rumoured 50 full-time gardeners. The property is famous in itself as it was a setting for Alfred Hitchcock's 1950 To Catch a Thief. It is also said to be a reason of the increased price of this place. The house's name comes from its original owner, King Leopold of Belgium, and was resided in the 1920s by American architect Ogden Codman Jr. 2. Antilla. Value $2 billion. Antilla, the second most expensive house in the world, is located in Mumbai, India and costs a whopping $2 billion. Well, who could have thought that one of the poorest countries in the world will have the second most expensive house in it? It was designed and constructed by Chicago-based architecture firm Perkins & Will and hospitality design firm Hirsch Bender Associates. The interior of this house is amazing, and if you stand on the top of this building, you will find the rest of the buildings around to be tiny. It's also been built to withstand earthquakes of magnitude 8 on the Richter scale. Inside the house, you will find 6 floors that are purely devoted to car storage. If you have a taste for cars, then this is your place, cause Abani has almost 180 cars standing over there, and a home service station for these cars too. A Hindu temple, a 50-seat movie theatre and 9 fast elevators. It has a health spa, 3 helipads, a salon, a ballroom and a yoga studio, an ice room with fake snow and multiple cinemas. The huge hallway has beautiful chandeliers in it as well. Basically, this house has everything. Things you can imagine, things you can't imagine, and things you never thought to imagine but are now imagining because they sound like the greatest things you've ever heard of. So, when all is said and done, Antilla reportedly required a staff of at least 600 just to keep things running smoothly. And number 1, Buckingham Palace. $2.9 billion. That's it. That's the one you've been waiting for. The grand finale. The almost $3 billion home. We give you Buckingham Palace. The actual most expensive palace in the world. Finally. Though some of the people say that this is a palace and shouldn't be included in the list, but in my opinion, it is an injustice not to include the world's best place in the list. So here you go. The palace is owned by the British royal family and is one of a number of lavish properties in their portfolio. It is located in the city of Westminster in London. This comprises of 775 rooms, 78 bathrooms, 92 offices, and 19 staterooms. It has been the official residence of the monarchy since 1873. It's said that the marble and other materials were imported from Indo-Pak in the time of British rule. In terms of size, the palace checks in at approximately 828,000 square feet, and the garden alone is 40 acres. It's estimated that if the palace were ever put up for sale, it would be somewhere in the region of $2.9 billion. But it's highly unlikely that'll ever happen.